everybody. Welcome to this edition of the Rink Report alongside Tarik El-Bashir. I am John Walton. What a time to be a D.C. sports fan here as we get into the first stage of 2025. The Commanders are winning playoff games, and the Capitals are the top team in the National Hockey League.
What are the Ravens?
What, the Ravens too?
Yeah,
I don't want to forget about the Ravens. The Ravens are going to take on the Buffalo Bills. There's a lot happening in our region, but of utmost importance to us, the Capitals right now, number one, 61 points, 28 wins after eking out another win, this time in Nashville, a place that they don't win a whole lot over the course of history, and they did it in come-from-behind fashion. It was awfully impressive.
They did. I had two big takeaways. Number one, Ethan Frank. What took them so long to get him here? And number two, Logan Thompson. What a season that guy is having, and what a time. You know, the Capitals at this point in their season, they need really good goaltending because they're not scoring as much at 5-on-5. And what a time for him. 27 years old. It's time for him to sign that big contract, having the best year of his career. He's going to get paid soon. So those are my two big takeaways. But I just love the way this team has been able to find different ways to grind out wins. Again, the offense isn't what it was back in October and November. The record isn't quite what it was just a few weeks ago, but they're finding ways.
They are finding ways, and the way that they did it in Nashville, one of the best third periods they've had in weeks, I believe, and it starts with Ethan Frank. Now, here's a player who is undrafted. 5 years he played at Western Michigan. He's put together some terrific AHL seasons with Hershey. 2 years ago, he had trouble in the Calder Cup playoffs. He actually was healthy scratch for a couple of rounds before getting a couple of goals in a game against Coachella in the final. Turned the corner, had an outstanding playoff last year. But if you talk with Ethan about how things went during training camp, the answer is not very good, even by his standard.
Right.
He had an opportunity to make this team. He did not. He didn't show well in the preseason. But all he's done here over the course of the last 2 years, if it hasn't gone right, I'll work on it. I'll find a way. And now, I mean, you got to hope that confidence after getting his first point on a terrific play in the game against Montreal and then get a goal the next night. Blazing speed was a big part of both of it. Nobody skates faster than this guy. I mean, nobody. There is nobody you're going to find in the NHL that can skate faster. If he can put that to good use with the skill that he has and now some confidence to go with it, let's hope it's small sample size, but let's hope that there's more to come from Ethan Frank. He was terrific these last two games.
Yeah, we saw the Wheels in the first game of the weekend beat out an icing and then made Jack Eye look absolutely ridiculous by putting the puck through him and then getting it to Lars Eller. I mean, that was an NHL-level play right there. And then in Nashville, I love that goal. Again, gets behind the D with his speed. And then he has a lot of deception there. It looks like he's going to go high because his blade's like this, and then he quickly flicks it over, and it goes 5-hole on Saros, one of the best goalies in the league. So, again, you're right, man. Small sample size. I mean, how many times, you and I have been doing this for a couple decades, how many times does a guy come up and has all this adrenaline and no one knows what to make of him, and so he's getting behind D because no one's paying attention to him really, and then it gets harder from there. But I'll tell you, I am really impressed with these first two games. But now comes the hard part for Ethan Frank, right? He's got his foot in the door. He's got a couple of points. Like you said, his confidence has to be sky high right now. But now Anaheim knows who Ethan Frank is.
Yes.
They're going to be paying a little bit more attention to him. Now he's going to be thinking a little bit more about where he's supposed to be on breakouts and in the neutral zone. And all of a sudden, he's not thinking about scoring goals. He's thinking about how do I not get, how am I not going to get out of position here so Spencer doesn't have anything to say to me. So we'll see. We'll see, but I love these first two games.
Yeah, really good for that.
Great story, too.
And a guy that we're going to have joining us here in a little while, Tom Wilson. I don't know that we have talked enough this season because we've talked about Ovechkin and the goal chase and all of the things he's done, the team's success to being in first place and how they got there. We've talked a lot about Jacob Chychrun and the year he's having among the best in terms of goal scoring among defensemen in the whole league and doing things that Capitals defensemen haven't done. There's been a lot of good things to talk about. I don't think we've spent enough time talking about Wilson. Well, that was a much lesser thing. Tom Wilson is on pace for like 37 goals.
I know.
37 goals.
I know.
And I asked him about it the other night, and he downplayed after the Nashville game. I said, is this the best that you felt in terms of offensive production with the game? He's like, I don't pay attention to numbers and all of that. I don't care.
Yes, he does.
Yeah, well, everyone does. But you know what? The thing that's crazy to me is that TJ Oshie was a very good friend of his when they were playing together, and all
Great
of this
mentor
stuff.
for him.
Great mentor for him. Why is Tom Wilson such a good leader? Because TJ Oshie helped shape him that way.
Right.
So there's a lot of that. But he also took his spot, right, on
Yeah.
Power Play 1. The bumper that Oshie was so good at for so many years. And now Wilson's that guy. Wilson leading the team in power play goals,
Right.
and it's not particularly close
Nope,
right
it's
now
not.
either. What a start. What a first half for Tom Wilson.
He is tied for 4th right now in power play goals with 9. By far his career high. I think it's 4 over his career high. And the guys who are in front of him, Braden Point, Dylan Larkin. I mean, they're some of the heavy hitters in the league. So this is what we're talking about with Tom Wilson now is he has become not only a legitimate top 6 guy. I mean, he's a first line guy with the kind of production he's putting up here. I know we've talked about this before, and everyone knows, but just to think about the entire career trajectory of Tom Wilson, comes into the league as a fighter, then was a feared hitter, and now he's a star player.
Yeah.
And when was the last time, knock on wood, now this isn't real wood, but knock on wood.
Knock on Formica or whatever it is. Yes.
When was the last time he had a hit where you went, is George Peros going to be calling tomorrow?
Not forever.
Yeah. When was the last time he had like a legit fight? He's not that anymore. He
Fans
is now
from other cities that still talk about Tom Wilson in a negative sense
haven't been paying
don't
attention.
Watch the Washington
No,
Capitals
they do not.
and they don't know what they're talking
Right.
about. Because that's not how he has played for years. He did a lot of that stuff early on in his career. He did.
Yeah.
And he was suspended and should have been. But if you have not watched Tom Wilson, if you're just, it's Tom Wilson, and you're just randomly booing him, I'm sorry, but you don't know the game. Like, you're not watching what he's done over the last 5, 6, 7 years.
Or you're just a hater. But, Wilson's Wilson's shooting percentage is a little under 20 right now. So, not to be, negative Nancy here, but that's probably going to come down a little bit. That said, he's playing outstanding, and I did a little digging on his analytics. The thing that people also don't realize about Tom Wilson is not only is he having a very productive season, he's clutch. He scores when the games are tied. He scores in the third period. He scores when the team is behind. Mm-hmm. And those are things that, yes, we have numbers to show that, but that shows what's in here, too. You know what I mean?
Question.
He competes. I mean, he cares as much as anybody in the NHL what happens, at the end of the night. Is it a W? Is it an L? And that gets back to what you were saying about leadership.
When you talk about culture in the room and why this team wins, Tom Wilson, a huge part of that, growing up in the organization, and certainly, by the time it's all said and done, going to be one of the legendary players to ever put on the uniform.
Picture might be up there somewhere.
Yeah, could be easily up there by the time it's all said and done. Let's talk a little bit about Logan Thompson, because he is going to be the guy here for the foreseeable. Charlie Lindgren getting pulled by the concussion spotter in the second period of the Montreal game. Hunter Shepard is here for now. Hopefully Charlie is back soon. But as Logan has played, and I think it is safe to say this now, even though he has not played as many games as a Connor Hellebuck or some others around the league, he is at a Vezina caliber level. Yeah. And now, for the foreseeable, he's the guy, too. So I wonder if, and this is not a knock on Charlie at all, sometimes circumstances happen. That's how Charlie took over and has gotten some of the starts that he hasn't and shown what he can do. Remember Darcy Kemper in his first year, he got hurt for the month of December. Charlie came in and was the goalie of the month. Sometimes circumstances dictate things. But when you look at what Logan has done, and now he's going to go on a bit of a run here where he's going to get some starts. The Capitals don't have a back-to-back now forever, thankfully, that you can put him out there every game for a while if you want. If he wins and this team continues to win, he's going to start to be in a conversation about awards at the end of the year.
I totally agree with you, John. There are 2 numbers that stand out to me about Logan Thompson. Second in slot save percentage, .881. Second in the entire NHL. The other number, he's the lowest paid player on this Capitals team right now because he signed his contract before the most recent, cost of living increase or whatever they call it, the NHL went up. He's like at $766,000. That's his AAV.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's going to be like
spoiler alert. It won't be next year.
It's going to be like $5 million next year. But I will tell you this. Like I said at the top. I mean, he is playing at his best at a time when this team really needs it, and he's also doing a lot for his family and future generations of Logan Thompson.
There is no question he is going to get paid. He's had an unbelievable year, and the Capitals sitting on top of the world. We had a chance to catch up with Tom Wilson to talk about what has been a terrific season for him, team success, and a whole lot more. Take a look. All right, happy to have Tom Wilson joining us here on the Rink Report. Just a little bit over halfway through the season, and you guys are tied for the most points in the National Hockey League. How much fun has this season been for you?
Yeah, it's been really fun. It's a great group of guys. When you're winning, everything's obviously always better. Right from kind of day one, it just felt right in that locker room, and we're clicking well, on and off the ice and coming together as a group, and done a really good job at collecting points. And I mean, those are wins you can't take off the board. So we're happy about it. We're gonna keep moving forward here.
19 goals, 9 goals on the power play. But one number that stands out to me, Tom, is your shooting percentage is almost 20% this year. Did you go to work on your shot? Just kind of walk me through why you're putting the puck in the net at such a high rate.
I don't know. I think a lot of it can be attributed to good line mates. I know Doobie and I clicked really well. He's always fun to play with. He's finding you in good areas, just finding myself in good spots to shoot the puck, and being able to capitalize. And when they're going in, they're going in. So talked to coaching staff a little bit about getting to the net a little bit more this year, and trying to find some ugly ones to complement the other types of goals. Right. And just kind of been a little bit of everything.
I have thoroughly enjoyed watching you come from Plymouth and growing up here and only playing here, and being from the guy who was the youngest guy on the team to now being one of the mentor guys, the guys that the young guys go to. How much do you relish being that guy now, and who were some of the guys maybe who helped you in your early days when you first got here and turned you into the off-ice guy that you've become?
Yeah, the group when I got here was so welcoming, just kind of like how it always has been. Guys are able to come here and just be themselves and enjoy coming to the rink every day. I think that starts with Ovi, and then Backy, and then it kind of goes right down. I had Beegs as a mentor, guys like Fairzy, Beegs, playing with those guys, third, fourth line, Shimmer, Wardo, as line mates early in my career, that just kind of showed me, the way to play and the way to work. And Beegs would grab me and, all right, time to skate, time to do some conditioning, time to work. And, when you got a guy as your centerman that works as hard as he does, you better keep up. So he kind of showed me the way a little bit. And then, obviously now being a little bit older, I still feel like I'm the young guy a little bit, but that'll never change. But it's exciting to see the next wave of guys coming up and having amazing seasons and chipping in. And at this point in my career, I'm just really excited and happy to see guys doing well. I want to help as many guys as I can achieve what they want to achieve in this league, and win a lot of games, win a cup, make a lot of money, and just have a good career, because so many guys, like you mentioned, did that for me.
Got to ask you about Ovi. At the start of the year, I feel like the Wayne Gretzky record was it was out there. We were talking about it, but now it's like it's in the foreground, right? It's coming up on the horizon. What's the vibe like in the room as those numbers keep getting smaller?
Yeah, it's unbelievable. I think whenever somebody starts saying, maybe not this year, maybe he can't do it, he just continues to surprise and continues to excel, and you can never count him out. So since I've been here, it's been a heck of a journey. The hockey world can't take for granted what he's doing right now. It's pretty darn special, and I think the bench and the team and everybody just gets so excited when he gets the puck on his tape, and whether he's skating towards the empty net or whether he's firing one in the back of the net, you can see the bench is just every guy smiling ear to ear, and pretty cool to be a part of something so historic.
The season in terms of offense and how you guys have gotten wins in the first part of the year, it was a ton of goals from a lot of guys. It's tightened up quite a bit since then. But what does it say about you guys that no matter what, it seems like you've been able to find a way to win? You got 28 of them already here as you get into a week where you've got some home games and a big trip looming here. But it seems like no matter what, you guys have that mentality, you're going to find a way. Nashville was probably the best example, where you don't get a lot of shots through 2 periods, but you find a way in the third period. What goes into that?
Nowadays, there's such an emphasis on analytics and stats, and, back in the day, you'd win games, no one would really ask questions. At the beginning of the year, we were firing on all cylinders. I think we surprised a lot of team with how good we were. Now there's a target on our back. We're top of the league. We come into any rink, they come into ours. They're expecting it's going to be a tough battle. So, I think the process the last few weeks, month, we can be a little bit tighter. We can generate a little bit more offense. But people have to understand it's an 82-game season. There's going to be ups and downs, and finding a way. You can't take wins for granted. Finding a way to win is the most important thing, I think, for a group. Whether you're down a goal or whether you're up a few, just finding a way to get to the end of the game with 2 points is super important. So we've been pretty versatile. We've been able to adapt throughout the year. I think we want to get back to the beginning of the year and the firepower we had then. But that being said, I'm proud of the group. We've put a lot of work in so far this season, and we're coming together, and it's looking good. So just continue to build and move forward.
I want to ask you about another one of your teammates, Logan Thompson, putting up incredible numbers. 18 wins already, save percentage around .920. Just how important has his play been for you guys?
Yeah, he's a guy that when he's when he's back there, you got a good chance to win when he's playing like he is right now. So to have the confidence in both the goalies that we have going into a game, it just as a team, you have that expectation, you have that culture of just we're going to win tonight. And mentally, that's important. You never want to lose that, and that's something that's been around here for a long time. Is we're going to win tonight, and stuff happens, and sometimes you don't win games.
Does it allow you to take more chances sometimes when your goalie's on point?
I don't think so. I don't think you really change the way you play, but I just think having a guy back there that is going to make the big save and that's going to keep you in it. Mentally you can you go into the games with a bit of swagger. I think you go into the games feeling good, like we have a good chance to win.
Well, Tom, we appreciate you joining us here for a few minutes, and good luck this week, starting with Anaheim.
Yep, thanks guys. Yep.
All right, thanks, Tom. So great to chat with Tom Wilson as he has had a terrific year, and another guy who has had an unbelievable year, Jakob Chychrun. It's a very exclusive list in terms of D-man that score goals this year in the National Hockey League. You got Cale Makar, you got Zach Werenski in Columbus, and you got Jakob Chychrun. That's the list right now at the top among goal scorers.
We ought to start calling him Jacob Cha-ching, 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 because that's what he's going to do at the end of the season. Look, the Capitals love the way he's playing. They love him. They love the player. I can't imagine there's a scenario out there where they don't figure out a way to keep him, but it is going to cost them a lot of money. But getting back to the season Jakob Chychrun is having, and the fact that he also, like many of the other guys, has just seamlessly fit in. When you bring in all these big-name, high-salary guys, P.L. Dubois, Chychrun, Matt Roy, I mean, that's a lot of different personalities and guys who have, big paychecks and a little ego and some history, and they've all come in, and the leadership group has gotten them exactly into the role they needed to be in. And, Chychrun isn't the loudest guy, but he leads by example, and man, does he score important goals. Just like Tom Wilson, who we were talking about a minute ago, how he scores when games are tied. He scores in the third period. Chychrun's the same way. You look at his analytics, he doesn't score the goal that, puts the icing on a 6-2 win, or he doesn't score the goal that, when you're losing 4-1 makes it 4-2. He scores the important goals.
He's got numerous game winners this year.
Numerous game winners. He scores when the games are tied. He scores on the power play when you need a goal. Like you said, he's right behind Werenski and Cale Makar. I mean, that's pretty good company to be in, right? Yep. And on the power play, 4 power play goals behind the same guys, right? Zach Werenski and Cale Makar. But the fact that the power play is carrying this team right now, and Chychrun is a big part of that. If you look at the Capitals since the holiday break, win one, lose one, win one, lose one. It's kind of been like that. What's been carrying this team as the 5-on-5 offense has dried up a little? The power play. And Chychrun is as big a part of that power play as anyone on the ice.
It has been a little bit up and down, but the Capitals have been pulling points, 4-0-3 in their last 7, as they keep moving forward here into a week where they will see teams that are lower than them in the standings. Everybody's lower than them in the standings, but teams that you hope that they can beat. We'll get to that in a moment. But when you look at the way that this team is winning and the 5-on-5 scoring has dried up, but I'd like to think that maybe in the third period, maybe the addition of Ethan Frank, maybe the fact that they got more shots on goal after what
Ryan Leonard's on his way.
Ryan Leonard will be here at some point, I have a feeling. When you look at where this team is in terms of shot production, there have been some periods that have been, there's not a lot here. But maybe after what was a really good third period in Nashville, which was tough too because the travel was tough, you get in late. Nashville's been sitting there for 4 days. I was encouraged by the fact that their best period came at the end of a 2-2 with some tough travel involved. when the team you're playing didn't have that.
Right.
And they're playing at home where it's always tough to play in Nashville on a Saturday night. I don't care who you are and what the team's doing on the other side. And they did. Like to see that happen a little bit more this week.
Yeah, I like that third period as well. And, it gets back to what Coach Carberry has been saying for a couple weeks now, probably longer than he would like. The results have been better than the process, right? And you mentioned it there. Not enough shots, not enough offensive zone possession. What causes a team to not have the puck that much? Bad puck decisions in one of the three zones, right? If you're turning it over a lot, you're not going to have it enough in the offensive zone. If you're not breaking it out that well, you're not going to have it in the offensive zone. So these little details that the Capitals nailed in October and November are starting to be harder for them to control right now. But that said, the NHL gets harder every 20 games, right? It gets harder throughout the year. The team that you housed in October and November, they've made some tweaks. They're much better in December and January. So we're starting to see a little bit of that now. And this is a thing that's almost impossible to measure. But, you and I have covered this team for a long time, and for a lot of those years, they've been at or near the top of the NHL. What does a coach say when the Washington Capitals come to town, or you're backing down the ramp at Capital One Arena? Guys, if we're not on point tonight, we're going to get embarrassed by Alex Ovechkin and company. Let's not get embarrassed by Alex Ovechkin and company. Like, you're the one that they circle on the calendar. So you're getting every team's A-plus effort. So there's a little bit of that, too.
No question. As we go into this week, Capitals facing three teams. You like to think that they could come up with wins against. The scouting report on what's coming up. You got Anaheim first up that Tuesday night at Capital One Arena. A trip to Ottawa to face a Linus Ullmarkless Ottawa Senators team, and then Pittsburgh coming to town. See the Penguins. They're on the outside of the top 8. Anaheim, they're a young team. They've got Carlson. They've got an erratic, I think, up and down kind of year because they're young. They're inexperienced. They're still finding their way. Just the last 2 games alone will tell you. They got the wheels beat off them by the Flyers 6-0 over the weekend, but then went into Carolina, gave up 2 goals in the third period as Carolina came back to tie and force overtime and ended up finding a way to win in OT. So winning in Raleigh's not easy. Anaheim just did that. That's what's first up. Then you got Ottawa, then Pittsburgh. Give me your thumbnail here. What's coming up?
Yeah, I'm with you there. And I hope that Anaheim's win at Carolina is a little bit of a red flag for these guys. Kind of got their attention a little bit. Another top team in our division, another top team in the NHL. If you go to sleep on a young, fast Anaheim team, they will beat you. They are still a National Hockey League team. They still have guys who get paid too, right? So the Capitals have to be on point. The number that really jumps out to me, and I looked at their roster and their stats, they only have 2 guys who have scored double-digit goals this year.
I know, it's weird.
The Capitals have 8 and are on the verge of having 9 or 10.
Tied for the NHL lead with New Jersey,
Yeah, so look, again, I feel like these are 3 games that the Capitals should procure 5 or 6 points from before going on to a very tough Western Canada swing. That's always a tough trip. A lot of travel. Edmonton's good. It's tough. So if you're able to get 5-6 points out of these next 3 games, you're in good shape in case things don't go that well out on the western side of Canada.
Indeed. Big trip coming up, and then only a handful of games in early February before the Four Nations break. It is Anaheim up first Tuesday night at Capital One Arena. Our thanks to Tom Wilson for joining us, and thanks to you for tuning in. For Tarik, I'm John. Thanks for tuning in to this edition of the Rink Report.